the ancient rabbis established a rule. It's in my PhD dissertation, but that's not where they established it. The ancient rabbis, it's in the Sea Frey, which is ancient midrash, and in a bunch of other sources. And it says it is forbidden to erase a single letter of the name of God, Yud He Vav He. And here, not only do they erase a single letter, they erase the entire name, or at least the bottom half of the name. Now, what does that tell us? That tells us beyond a shadow of a doubt that the scribe who corrected this manuscript was not a rabbinical scribe, because no rabbinical scribe would erase Yud He Vav He, not in this instance. There might be special instances, and I talk about this in my PhD dissertation. There could potentially be special instances where they would erase it, not here. This had to be a Karaite scribe. It's really inconceivable that a rabbinical scribe would erase the name Yud He Vav He here. It was explicitly forbidden by what they considered to be a Torah prohibition. Now, the Torah doesn't actually say don't erase God's name. Where this whole thing comes from is that in the ancient world, they would write a name out and then they would erase it, and that was a curse. And we're told, for example, to blot out the name of Amalek. What does it mean to blot out a name? It means to take a wet sponge and wipe off the ink. Now, why didn't they take a sponge here? Why did they scratch it off? Because you can only really do that with carbon ink. And this is iron gall ink. And iron gall ink, if you take a sponge, you're going to wipe off some of it, but I'll still be able to read the letters. You're going to leave an impression of the letters because it's very difficult to erase iron gall ink. The way to erase iron gall ink is not with a wet sponge, it's with a razor. You scratch it off, and you can see it's been scratched off vigorously. This is very interesting because here we have, I think, pretty strong evidence that the scribe, or at the very least the proofreader, the corrector, was a Karaite scribe. And by the way, he rewrote he erased a little bit more than he needed to. He erased the following, really the first two words of the verse, the second time it appeared, Vayaver Ishai, and then he had to rewrite those words. Now, why did he do that? I don't know. Seems like a pretty bad mistake to make, but he did make it. Now, it would be really interesting, and we would need a machine called an RTAX, which does X-ray fluorescence. What we need to do is check the ink of Vayaver Ishai using X-rays to see if it's the same ink as all the other words on this page. And if it is, that means it's very likely that the proofreader is the original scribe. Not necessarily, right? The same scribe could use two different inks. It happens all the time. But if it's the same ink, that would point to the likelihood that we're dealing with the same scribe. If it's a different ink, then it very well could be a different scribe. The letters look the same, but the letters are kind of like sloppy, right? I mean, it's written over an eraser. But this is really cool. Here we have incontrovertible evidence that Sassoon Codex was corrected by a Karaite scribe. That's pretty cool. I think it's cool.